Hi, and welcome to the Friendship Flow podcast. My name is Katy, and I'll be your host. My hope is to create a space for women entering their wisdom years to learn about friendship from all their own personal experience and create the circle of friends they desire and deserve. I hope to explore this subject with you so that you can explore what friendship means in your life. I created a 5-step approach to accomplish just that. 1, self-awareness. 2, connection. 3, boundaries. 4, growth. 5, joy. Each episode will dive deeply into the steps and how to use them. So, hello. Today's episode is episode number 18. And I just realized I did not name this episode, which I usually do, but it's a little different. It's a little different spin on friendship and what our needs are. So I saw something this week that stayed with me, not because it was dramatic, but because it was quietly extraordinary. It was an interview about 2 women who have been friends for many years. It was on TV. One of them got diagnosed with cancer, and the other friend made a promise to be with her for every step of the way through the whole process of appointments and treatments until she was on the other side of this. And she'd been keeping this promise. There was one time she needed to leave town for a funeral, and she made arrangements with her husband to take her friend in her absence. No matter what the friendship may have looked like all along, when push came to shove, she showed up as the best friend she could possibly be. It was a really heart-wrenching story. It really pulled at your heartstrings to watch these 2 women interact and what that meant to the woman that had cancer, that her friend, no matter what, was going to be by her side and be her biggest cheerleader through this whole process. It made me think about another story, which has nothing to do with this story, but it stirred up a whole nother kind of reaction on friendship. So I have read a book a few months back, and the name of it is Some Bright Nowhere by Ann Packer. And in this story, there is a woman that gets a cancer diagnosis and she's dying. There's no more help for her. She is going to die. When she decided that she was going to take control over how she died, she asked her husband to leave. Now, there'd been no problem in their marriage. There'd been no, fighting or distance, or they had a nice relationship. But she decided that she wanted her best friends to move in and go through this process with her. After this story, I listened to a lot of podcasts about it, and it was really a controversial book. It really became like people were on totally different sides of how they felt about this book. Some people thought she was so cruel to her husband, who had been by her side their whole marriage, and they'd been married over 30 years, I think. And he'd been with her every step of their marriage, always rooting for her. And at the end, she didn't want him by her side. She wanted her friends who cared for her in a different way. And it was so interesting to watch this unfold in the media after I had read the book. Because, I had a lot of feelings myself about it, but listening to other people talk about it shifted some of the feelings that I actually had when I read it. So maybe read the book, maybe not, but it's just kind of food for thought. Like, where would you be in this? And it led me to thinking about all the things we talk about on this podcast about friendship and who we are as a friend and how we want to show up. Do we show up for people in the way we think is right or in the way that they need? That's something that I've been thinking more about. What is it that I can offer? What do I have that is a gift that I can share when someone really needs it? Do I make people feel special and empowered? I've been told that many times, and I do value that gift. I appreciate that I can hold space for people, that people have told me several times that they appreciate that I listen to them and they value that. So that's a gift to me to know that I may help someone here and there. And I want to suggest that you ask yourself, what do you expect from yourself as a friend in a relationship? What are your expectations from you as a friend? For me, the expectations I have for myself are things like I answer texts. I don't leave people hanging. I show up on time. I try to listen without interrupting. Noting important things and circling back and checking up. So when I do listen to somebody, maybe they're talking about another friend, or maybe they're talking about a family member that they're worried about, or I try to make a mental note of that. And then the next time we chat, I try to ask about that. I try to remember to ask about that because it's important. And I know when I share with a friend and they circle back to me, it makes me feel valued. So I try to do that for other people. And I could go on, but you get the idea. I suggest you ask yourself and then look at it and see if you're hitting your own expectations. Then I suggest asking, what are your friends' expectations or your perceived friends' expectations of your friendships? After this exercise, just sit with it for a minute and let it soak in and see where in your friendships that you are aligned with your own expectations. And know you can change it. You can make new expectations for yourself and see how you show up. It's being proactive instead of passive. I've coached people who say things like, I don't know why I'm still in that friendship. Or I guess I just think to myself, it's the way he or she is, and I accept it. This is a very passive response, and you could stay in a relationship that serves you in no way and doesn't make you the best version of you because you don't ask these questions of yourself to realize what you want and need and bring it into focus of your interactions. When we realize whatever circumstances we have, whatever circumstances are brought to us, we have the power to change our thoughts around that circumstance, which leads to how we feel. And our feelings produce action and leaves us with our result. So take time to realize that whatever circumstance is brought to us, we have the power to change our thoughts around that circumstance. And once we have the thought we want around this circumstance, then we have feelings about that thought. That thought produces our feelings, and our feelings produce how we act on that, which leads us to our result. So taking time to address every circumstance that you come across and notice what your thoughts are and use that power to make your thoughts positive. And then your thoughts will lead you to the results you desire. I know this is a lot to sort out, but I promise you, if you take the time to do the work, you will land on the results you want for your life. So friends, as you find some time to soak all of this in, please take a minute to follow my Facebook page at Elevated Adventures Yoga and check out the Substack blog that relates to this podcast. I'd love to hear from you and what you think about friendship. Thank you, and I will be talking to you again in 2 weeks. Thank you.